Well, over 30 years ago, I was working for somebody else as a senior executive in a leasing company, doing very well, and Brent actually worked at the same company. One day, the president of the company called us all in and told us he'd sold the company to a big bank.
The owners came to us as the employees and said, "We're doing this for you. This is the best thing that could happen to you. Our reason for selling this is to make this a better opportunity for you." And in every single case, their promises turned out to be empty promises.
As life became unbearable under the new owners, we left, went our separate ways, and I ultimately got a job back with the former owner of our company. He had several companies. I got a job with him in his hospital equipment rental company, and he asked me to come on board and start a leasing company, so I did. And I lured Brent back into the fold, and we built a great company for this company, and we were doing very well. And one day, the president of the company called us all into his office and explained that he'd just sold the company, and he'd done it for the benefit of all of the employees, and it was going to be great for us. Nothing was going to change. And at that point in time, we looked at each other and said, "We've just been sold twice by the same guy."
Finally, we decided we've had it. We don't want to go through this anymore. We don't want to be sold while we are employed by a company. And so we decided to start Med1 and to kind of control our own destiny. As we started to get more and more employees, we sat down together and said, "You know what? We do not want to put our employees through what previous companies put us through." And so we decided that we were going to build a legacy company, a company that we would not sell, a company that would be here for years and years in the future, and what I consider to be a safe haven for our employees. And that's why we basically started Med1.
My name is Adam Wittenberg.
Leon Alvarez.
John Hutchinson.
Michelle Reyes.
Mike Daniels.
Teresa Warren.
Sergio Reyes.
Garrett Brestig.
Spence Stuhler.
Michael Sanchez.
Jeremy Quick, and I'm the National Account Sales Manager here at Med1.
Sophia Walston, and I am the Operations Specialist here at Med1 Hayward.
Joey Reyes, I'm a biomed here at La Mirada.
Operation Manager.
Territory Sales Manager.
I'm the Operational Manager.
And I'm a biomed. Southwest Regional Sales Manager.
Biomed Technician.
Operations Support Specialist.
I'm a Corporate Account Manager for the Leasing and Finance team here at Med1.
Operations Manager.
And I work in accounting.
My favorite part about working for Med1 is the people. You know, my coworkers. You know, they are my second family. I spend a lot of time with them.
For the feeling of camaraderie and the positive workplace. The people I work with and people I work for are good people. They make me want to come to work.
Just walking through those doors, you walk in, it feels like you're walking at home. You have a family environment feeling when you walk in, so it's just one of those things where you just enjoy coming to work every day.
In the 10 years that I've been here at Med1, one of the things that has meant the most to me is the relationships that I've built, both with people here at Med1 and also with customers and vendors that I've worked with. I think the thing that's fun about it is every vendor that we work with is different. They have different products, they have different clinical applications, and it's understanding kind of what their products are and who they're selling to, and then working with them to develop solutions. And that's the fun part, when you find something and develop something that works.
I came on to Med1 6 years ago, and it's kind of funny because the office back then was something around 2,000 square foot. It wasn't very big. We didn't have a lot of business, maybe 25 accounts max, and calling on hospitals, and they're like, "Who?" I mean, it's like, "Yeah, Med1 for rentals," and they're like, "Never heard of you guys." And that was like, wow, okay, we got some work to do in this territory, in this area out here to get people to recognize Med1 for rentals. So it's really come to a point where Med1 now, after 6 years doing what we do in Southern California, is kind of a household name. It's rare to find anyone who doesn't know Med1 for rentals, also for the leasing side, but also for rentals. It's something now that we've really made an impact where, you know, and customers now seek us out many times rather than us always have to seek them out. I mean, we're always going to do that, but it's just nice that they come to us because that name recognition, and we've always had what they needed when they needed it, and it's made a huge impact in California.
I love working here because of the people. They make you happy to come to work. I've never had a job where I've been excited to come to work. The Hayward team is fantastic, and there's nothing bad you can say about the people here.
It happened over a phone call with my mother. During that whole conversation, my mom reiterated to me, if you're in a position where you can give back, son, you should definitely give back, because if you think you have it bad, there's always someone else there that's got it worse than you. And I remember going to the Salvation Army and the local food bank, and that planted the seed in my head to start a little food drive here at the La Mirada office. We put up a small little flyer up in the office here. We were able to gather, I want to say, close to $300 worth of food, for that local food bank. Speaking to Michelle, the one that runs the local food bank, I told her that as long as I'm the operations manager here in La Mirada, that she can count on us every single year to get something together for her.
It takes every one of us. It's a collaborative type of effort, and each member knows their responsibility, from the decontamination and cleaning equipment, repairing equipment, servicing the equipment, getting the equipment patient ready, coordinating with the customer, the location for the pickups. We all know, who needs the equipment, where the equipment's going, and when it needs to be there. So we're pretty good at that here.
I did have an opportunity not long ago to meet with the Air EMS company, and I went up. They were local, so I had the opportunity to go meet with them in person. I was meeting with them about their infusion pumps, talking with them, and the person I was meeting with was also one of their flight nurses, and he happened to receive a call that the helicopter was coming in with a patient in critical need, and so he invited me to join him up on the roof on the landing pad so we could see the helicopter come in. So I went up on the roof, we watched the helicopter come in, the patient was unloaded and taken to ER, and then I was able to stay and see the equipment in the helicopter, see how they were using the pumps specifically. And for me, it was just kind of a feeling of, seeing the pumps in action, seeing how they would be used, and seeing the benefit of them in a real life situation.
So the equipment that we provide for hospitals is super important, and what's really nice is rather than narrow it down to just a particular account, I think it's good to look at the overall picture for Med1 helping hospitals, and that is that we've been able to provide a lot of equipment to a lot of different customers out there. The great thing about that is that we're not only helping the facility with that equipment, but we're also helping families with that equipment too, right? That's the great thing is we talk about equipment, but who's really benefiting from the equipment? The hospital, yeah, but who's the end user? At the end of the day, it's the patient.
One of the most impactful experiences I've had with Med1 is the ability to provide really life-saving equipment to patients. One really great experience happened last year when a newborn baby was born and they needed an oscillator and they could not find it anywhere. And we were able to provide it to them and we saved that baby's life. It was a really great experience. Made it absolutely worthwhile to work here at Med1.
My first delivery, I went to one of our children's facilities, and I walked in, and as soon as I walked in, I seen like a little crib with a little foot sticking out, and just like cords going into the bed, and I was like, wow. And then I just realized that people are really dependent on this stuff. That once you go in and see exactly how you affect somebody's life, then it's life changing.
A few years back, when I was barely starting in this field, I asked my boss how you prioritize on how to get equipment out into the patients or the hospitals. And that's when he told me that, well, I go by, sick baby shouldn't have to wait. So that's when every time I got a call for a baby, I just dropped what I did and did that delivery. I actually know how it feels to be that parent waiting. Because my son was in the hospital for about 10 days of the first 2 weeks he was born. And he had jaundice and it just kept getting worse, and they didn't have the phototherapy lights. And so we had to take him home, find another place that had the equipment, and they had to order it. We were just helpless, like had no idea what to do. That's why it hits me hard, because I've actually been on that side, just waiting. I even tell the drivers that actually ask me the same question, I give them the same motto. Sick babies shouldn't have to wait. If you get an order for a baby, that's the first thing you should do. Drop what you're doing and go.
I like my job because every day we come in to do something different. And not only that, we're helping someone stay in a hospital so much better, and ultimately we could possibly be saving lives.
You know, the part that moves me the most about it is that when we start talking about oscillators, NICU, there's a different sense of alert, and we have a different sense of urgency. Our mission is very real. It's very real, what it is that we're doing in helping the community and people.
My name is Bryson Cutler. I'm a digital marketing manager at MedOne Group. My favorite part about working for MedOne is that I love what I do. I love digital marketing. I love the analytics. I like being creative. I love working with the people in the marketing department and people here at MedOne. My family is my motivation for everything. It's the reason why I come to work each day. It's the reason why I get up each day. I love my family. When I started at MedOne 6 years ago, it was just my wife and I. And now I have a beautiful daughter and an energetic, crazy little son. I love being able to learn the things my kids love to do and be able to do those with them. Like taking them to the park and seeing how excited they get and how fun they are with each other, or when they fight with each other. I love being able to enjoy those experiences. I love being a parent. It's awesome. It keeps you on your toes, and they watch every little thing you do. I appreciate that I get to work for a company that focuses so much on family. And I love the opportunities I've been given so far to grow professionally and with my family. There's a phrase that I think of often is family is everything. And that really is it for me. Family is everything.
My name is Chris Enger, and I am the Director of Training and Development at MedOne Group. I enjoy the company we work for because in a small business setting, we get to know one another very closely and intimately, which doesn't happen in a lot of large workforces. So as far as working with other people, as far as watching the company change, develop, and grow, that's a lot of the reason why I've enjoyed working for MedOne Group. I've always felt drawn to yarn, and I have no idea why. And one day we're walking in Costco, my wife and I, and there is a Marvel Learn How to Crochet kit. And I told my wife, let's pick that up. I want to learn how to do that. And she was kind of whatever, right? So we put it in the cart, and I look at the book and I say to myself, this is October 2016. All right, I don't have time to do this right now, but start of the year, that is my goal. 2017, I'm going to learn how to crochet. So come 2017, start going to YouTube, start learning how to do it. And by the end of the year, after doing everything else I'd done, I realized, oh crap, I haven't made one Marvel character yet this entire year. So December 31st, I am sitting in California trying to rushly crochet a little Captain America that I now have that indicates that the crochet box was worth it. If I were to say what my favorite thing I've ever done was, I actually designed and crocheted a giant Marvel blanket. And it's just a fun little blanket to make. Blankets are I guess my specialty. Second thing I like to make are F-bombs. People love those for whatever reason. They think they're hilarious. So I've made about 300 F-bombs since I made the first one. What's been fun about crocheting is I've learned that I'm not the only one at the office that does it. To develop that friendship and camaraderie, because it's a fun little skill. Like, what are you making? What are you developing? What are you putting together? And then it's just that fun little connection that I wouldn't have been there had I not done it before.
Hi, my name is Ian Black. I'm a biomed manager over at Med1 Group in Sandy, Utah. I love working in biomed just because I love working with my hands. The technology and just being able to make a real difference in the medical industry. I think biomeds are super important to have. How I started my woodworking business is actually, it started from when we moved into this house. We didn't have very much furniture, and my wife came to me and wanted a kitchen table, and that's kind of how it started. I found plans online and then built our first kitchen table, and then from there she shared it on social media, and it kind of just grew that way. Some of my favorite things I've made is every now and then I'll get a request to make these custom watches, and I make them out of like resin and burl wood, and they get to basically customize it however they want. Those are really fun to build. One of the coolest things I've ever made was actually a walnut desk, and the walnut came from the family's farm. Their grandpa actually planted it when they were little, and then when the tree died, they slabbed it, and then I was able to take the slabs of wood, mill them down, and I made a, basically like an heirloom desk for the family. When I delivered it to her house, she actually got in tears, and just, it's cool because they run their hands over the desk and they just, they feel the wood grain, and it just brings back a lot of memories. Med1 allows me to work during the day there, and then at nights I get to come home, be with my family, and then after I put the kids to bed and have dinner, I go out into the wood shop at night and do my woodworking projects, and continue to grow the business that way.
My name is Sandy Green, and I'm the executive assistant to Larry and Brent. I started writing when I was in the 3rd grade. I had a friend whose mom actually was in a parade group. It was called the Good Gals. And she asked me, they needed another little person to hold the sign, the banner in front of the horses. And I was deathly afraid, but that was my first experience into horses. I joined a mounted patrol group at 16. And we would go places like the Cow Palace and compete. So from that, we decided to start a drill team, a flag team that went up and down Northern California doing rodeos. That group name is called the Painted Ladies, and they've been around for just shy of 30 years now. So both of my daughters have picked the passion up as well, thankfully. Never forced it on them, but they've both been riding since they were young. That's something that we share together. There's nothing better than being on a horse. I really can't give you like the thoughts that go behind that, because when I'm out on the mountain or if you're running in an event, there's really nothing that you're thinking about. When we perform with the Painted Ladies and we're all carrying flags and just going as fast as you can go to entertain the crowd. There's just no words to describe making people happy. Even just walking down the street in a parade, waving to some little kid who's never been around the horses, or they want to come up afterwards. It's just such a humbling feeling for me. What motivates me to come to work each day is literally Larry and Brent. They gave me a chance 15 years ago. I actually had a life-changing event shortly after I started Med1, and I was faced with either moving back home to California or staying in Salt Lake and raising my family. And I made the choice to stay, and although Brent teases me about it, I've never regretted it since that day. I've been able to give my kids stability and live the life that we want to live. And so I feel like I owe that to them, and I show up every day to do what I can.
What's the funniest thing that's happened at Med1 that you can remember?
All right, so the memory that comes to mind, that's the funniest, when I have Chris Anger. He used to be my upper management boss, and I walked into Troy's office one day and he was downing like 3 or 4 Big Macs in like a matter of just a minute or so. So I just remember just being super impressed by that and love to see that again.
The patient would be in bed, and I'd say, oh, that patient's not exactly where they're supposed to be laying on the bed. You need to move them. And they go, oh, no, you can't move them. It's like, oh yeah, you gotta move them. I mean, this is our product. You gotta move them. They're not laying there. They're not gonna heal right. You gotta move them. But you told me, I know what I told you, but when they're not laying right, you got to move them. So the patient, the CRS person gets really nervous, right? You gotta get some gloves on. So they're getting the gloves on, and they're just getting ready. And they go, what are you doing? We never touch a patient. Why are you doing that? And they would just die from that. They get so mad at me for it, but it kind of loosens things up because you're in a hospital and there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's not always, happy moments in there. And to be able to mess with someone like that in a good way was fun, and they got something out of it as well.
I think one of my favorite stories was a couple years ago making the video for the annual meeting, and just being a part of that, watching them shoot water guns at each other and darts at their heads, and they were playing some game with whipped cream, and so whoever tapped it first, the other one got slapped in the face with whipped cream. It was just fun to watch them throw a football in the office and just get out of their character and be who they really are outside of the office.
He was an elderly man. He had these beautiful pajamas and a little hat, and you could see that he was kept well. And he would come over to us in his wheelchair, and in the most polite manner, he would say, could you go open that door for me? And then I kind of look at the door, and that's an exit door. He was working on his exit strategy.
It was an evening where we had a surprise visit from Karnak. I remember Brian Jorgensen bringing an envelope to Karnak, and Karnak put it up to his forehead, and he used his mystic powers, the inspiration, and finally revealed the answer, and the answer was Zippity Doodah. And I thought, where in the world is Karnak going with Zippity Doodah? Well, Brian opened the envelope, and the question was, how do you tell Brian Jorgensen that his doodah is open? Zippity doodah.
Now that was funny.
Never forget that when one door closes, another door opens. And usually that door opens wider than the one that closed. And I think in our 30 years history, we have had a total history of doors closing, but other doors opening. We have grown much more than I ever thought we would.
We have about 150 plus employees and growing. And to be able to work alongside the kind of talented individuals that have come into this company who actually share the vision we have and share the joy we have for serving our customers. But I think our employees also have embraced the mission and purpose of Med1 and have helped shape that purpose and shape that mission as we've gone along. And because they share that vision, that's shaped the company. There's no question that our employees make Med1 what it is.
Med1 is
relationships,
growing,
responsive,
unique,
creative,
quality.
Med1 is customer friendly,
respected,
enthusiastic,
phenomenal,
innovative,
united.
Med1 is happy.
Teamwork,
family,
familia.
family.
Med1 is integrity.